Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Muse on Guard. Today, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Jagvir Singh. He is the CEO and the president at Swift Innovations and Refresh Botanicals. Dr. Jagvir has over 15 years of experience bridging the gap between science and market applications, making advanced technologies accessible to the public regarding quality skincare. In this episode, we're going to cover the story of Refresh Botanicals, skincare trends and misconceptions, and how to take care of aging skin in the most efficient way. Please enjoy the show. Thank you for joining me today, and I would like to start with the story of Refresh Botanicals. Can you please tell me about the inspiration behind the company and overall challenges and achievements on the way?
First of all, I would like to thank you, Maria, for inviting us for this, amazing podcast which you are doing, and I thank you for your services towards the community.
Thank you.
So, to start with your question regarding why we started Refresh Botanicals, see, the thing is, I have almost 19, 20 years of research and innovation experience. I have been into where I came through a lot of research happening inside the labs. And there is so much of research and development going on which never sees the light of the market. So the intention behind Refresh Botanicals was to bring that innovation, to actually apply that innovation which can deliver the tangible results and which can be applied immediately to deliver the results. So that's one thing why Refresh Botanicals happened. So we wanted to utilize, the findings of science and technology within the brand itself. Second thing was about the awareness which is spreading around about the natural and organic skincare. People have been using a lot of skincare products since ages, and they have been using all sort of chemicals during that. So the intention was to make available such kind of skincare products which are devoid of any chemicals, which are devoid of any synthetic chemicals to be particular, which are devoid of any petrochemicals into it, which are devoid of any animal byproducts, which are sustainable, products. That was the second, reason why we launched Refresh Botanicals.
Right.
Third thing, which is most important, is there is a lot of greenwashing around. Greenwashing, let me tell you, is a terminology which is used to describe misleading statements about being green. And the thing is, so people tend to believe whatever is there on the label. If there is something written as natural, they tend to perceive it as a natural, but actually it is not. So there is a lot of myth and misconception going around. We will discuss it about it later on, but that's the reason behind Refresh Botanicals.
Right. You said that people people have been using skincare for decades, right? For generations, and they didn't choose the cleanest ingredients. And it's such a good point because I talked to my friends recently, and the older I guess you get, the cleaner you want your product to be, products around you, products you put on your skin. And we were discussing how I think it was in the 50s where they used you might be familiar with the term. I forgot.
Uh-huh.
But they used some ingredient that later on, I don't know, 20, 30 years later of daily use would cause cancer.
Yeah.
Um,
Carcinogenic is the term to be very accurate.
mhm,
And as you mentioned, you rightly mentioned that there are some of the ingredients which, if they are used consistently over a
mhm,
period of time, they can cause cancer. And
right.
now the new findings have been able to kind of validate those findings, basically, and that's why we need alternative solutions for
Mhm.
skincare.
Dr. Sippy, could you please tell me what brought you to Refresh Botanicals and overall describe your experience in the industry?
I'm doctorate in chemistry with experience in material sciences. And with Swift Innovations, I'm looking for research and development and production for skincare. So, my passion about science, which states like extraction of bioactives from different plants. So, this is the main idea which brought me into this area where I want to work to develop some bioactives which is useful for skincare.
Mhm. So, since you both work for the same company, and I guess you both have the same philosophy and approach towards skincare, where do you see Refresh Botanicals heading in the future? Besides, because I saw some newspaper, I think it was some newspaper or online magazine, they posted that you went on Indian market recently, right? And that looks big. That looks like a big step. So, do you have any greater plans for the future?
So, Maria, as we call Refresh Botanicals as affordable luxury, that's the tagline which we use for our Refresh Botanicals skincare line. So, our plan for the next few years is to continue to innovate, launch new products. Basically, our focus is on to delivering the bioactives efficiently onto the skin, and that's where we are focusing our strength, our energy. We want the skincare line to work. Uh, the reason being there is so much to do in skincare, especially regarding the bioactives, addressing specific skincare concerns. So that's what we want to do. Second thing is we want to expand our presence into the newer markets. So as you rightly mentioned, we launched our products into the Indian market. We are also parallelly launching the brand in the US market as well. Besides being present in the Canadian market, we are almost on around 800 retail stores across Canada. We are present online as well on different platforms, including Amazon. So that's the intention. Third thing is we are planning to launch some super specialty products which are addressing specific skin concerns, even for example, for the hair loss, which is a very common issue. So we are coming up with an amazing formulation for hair loss, which is highly scientifically driven. Uh, uh, and also we are in the process of launching a vitamin C series of line with Refresh Botanicals. So these are some of the exciting things coming up from Botanicals point of view.
And
I'm
other
really
than
excited to see the hairline.
Yeah, it's exciting. Sippy, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was saying, just wanted to add here, we are also trying to get into supercritical extraction, which is solvent-based extraction, and good for because we are not using any petrochemicals, any solvent, so it is very natural when we will be extracting using this technology. So we will be getting closer to more natural product.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
so just to explain, Maria, about bioactives. Actually, it is a huge area. When we are using the bioactives, these are the active components of the skincare. And these actives are being extracted from the plants, from the animals, from various sources. So when we are extracting those actives, a lot of chemicals, they also come along with that extraction. So as CP mentioned, we are talking about supercritical extraction, which is a solvent-less basically extraction, which doesn't leave any residues inside, the extract. That's
Right.
why it's changing the skincare dramatically. So that's where we are planning to, super critically extract some of the bioactives which have huge potential to be used in the skincare. Besides that, as Sippy mentioned, like we are also uh, into delivering of those bioactives onto the skin using specific technologies like nanoencapsulation or microemulsification. So our
Right.
intention is to make this skincare as efficient as possible without using the petrochemicals.
That's so interesting because I had a question here. How do you keep up with the latest developments and research in skincare? As I imagine, it's a very broad industry and you can go both ways. You can make it efficient and sort of harmful, right? And efficient and clean. But, um, well, you can answer that about latest developments, but also could you please disclose if you see the difference between someone using efficient ingredients that are very, fast produced, fast reactive, and cleaner ingredients like herbs, botanicals, right? And whether they work slower or they can provide the same pace when you apply it on your skin, for instance, or your hair.
Okay, let me first of all clarify that it's a huge misconception out there in the market that natural, when the ingredients are natural, they are either low in efficiency or they are, slow acting
Mm-hmm.
or something. So let me clarify without any doubt that the natural actives which are being used in the skincare, they are as much efficient as the synthetic ones
Right.
with their own advantages. So sometimes the synthetic chemicals might work faster, but here we are looking for longer lasting solutions, not
Mm-hmm.
for the quick solutions. So that's an important difference. But that doesn't mean that they are ineffective. So it's a misconception around that. And moreover, as I mentioned earlier, that it's more about using that newer technologies to deliver those bioactives. So for example, the microencapsulation. When we are saying microencapsulation, we are encapsulating those actives into a membrane, into a lipid membrane, so that it is delivered fast. It's slowly released onto the skin surface, and it is giving you much better result as compared to being used without encapsulation process.
Oh, I
So we
see.
those same bioactives more effective by using the nanoencapsulation technology.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm just trying to imagine it all in my head, and it's very fascinating. And maybe Dr. Sippy, you could walk me through the process of developing new skincare products, and how do you decide which ingredients to include into your formulations?
Yeah, sure. It all depends on the need actually.
Mm-hmm.
First, we select the ingredient depending on needs and application or issue we are targeting. For example, if I am looking for something soothing for irritated skin, I am developing something. So I will look on the ingredient which is uh, good for irritated skin to
Mm-hmm.
calm down. For example, aloe vera. Aloe vera is well known for calmness, giving the control on irritation. So I will select such components and look into the safety aspects and regulation aspects, what type of concentration is allowed in the formulation.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I will make those ingredients, make those list and decide what type of ingredient I will be choosing for this cream or serum, whatever I am planning to do. So after taking all aspects, safety, regulation, and what type of ingredient, I will go for further and make the formulation. After developing that formulation, I will look into like how much stable it is, in what parameters, what temperature, what
Mm-hmm.
pH it is stable. I will make those charts for the stability and everything. I will look into and the efficacy. Aloe vera I am using, for example, for calmness, and it is like 1% or 2% I am using, but I need to be keeping it sure when someone is putting on the skin, it is working. It is not getting deteriorated. That's why nano encapsulation and other techniques are coming, because some bioactives during the process, it lost their activities. So we need to encapsulate or do something to protect their activity. So this is a very, very general process to get into new product development.
Mm-hmm.
Selection of ingredient, depending on our concern, we will select safety aspects, regulation aspects, and the stability. These are the main four areas where we have to look into while developing new products.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about stability, Maria, to add over here. We are not only talking about stability of the formula itself. We are
Mm-hmm.
also talking about stability of the actives going into it. They should not oxidize over the period of time. They
Mm-hmm.
should not break in the presence of other materials inside the skincare formula. So there are a lot of factors which come into play. The pH should not vary, like it should be stable over the period of its shelf life. So we need to make sure that the product is as fresh as it is after 2 years of life cycle as it is made in the lab on the first day. So these are some of the factors which are taken care of while
Right.
formulating product.
And also selection of preservative. Preservative is also very important when we talk about shelf life and the stability of the formulation.
Mm-hmm.
And that, because preservative selection is very, very important. After 6 months, maybe your product is gone if your preservative is something bad or not efficient properly.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to very thoughtful about selection of preservative.
And selection, sorry, I'm interrupting you. Selection of preservatives is another very important,
Yeah.
like the reason why we are mentioning the selection is important because that's where many of the harmful chemicals are being introduced into your skincare formulations. Because preservatives till now, there were very limited choices about for the preservatives. But now we have natural preservatives. There are plant extracts which act as preservatives. So you don't need to worry about using petrochemicals or using dangerous chemicals as preservatives, and those preservatives which have been used in past, they are known to be causing cancer. They are now being gradually being disallowed by the agencies, the government regulatory bodies. They are not allowing to use those. So there are a lot of awareness which is coming nowadays about use of the preservatives and specifically keeping it safe and clean even after use of the preservatives and inside the skincare.
For
So
example,
what about, sorry, go ahead.
benzoic acid is very commonly used as a preservative, but it is not for long-term use. So people use it like nowadays honeysuckle. Honeysuckle is natural one, so it is also very good preservative one.
Oh, I see. So what about keeping skincare in the fridge? Because I've seen on Instagram lots of skincare. I don't know if they're so cold or they're actually experts, but lots of them suggest that you put your skincare in the fridge.
So what happens, basically, you know, your ingredients, specifically the active components of the skincare formula, they undergo oxidation. As you are keeping it at room temperature or at high temperature, they undergo oxidation. So sometimes when you're keeping it in the fridge, you are slowing down the oxidation. And that's where our nano encapsulation technology comes into play. It comes to the rescue. So when you are nano encapsulating those actives, you don't need to worry about being oxidized. So you
Oh, I
can keep
see.
it at the room temperature. You don't need to keep in the refrigerator. So you are basically, encapsulating the active inside nano capsules. We are calling it nano because the size is around 200 nanometers, which is safe for the skin. You please don't confuse it with nanoparticles going onto your skin and damaging it because that can also be dangerous. But we are talking about anything about 200 nanometers. So when you are putting any of those actives into those nano capsules, you are basically preventing it from being oxidized when it comes in contact with the air. And specifically for Refresh Botanicals brand, we are also using the airless containers, airless bottles. So basically there is no air entering into it. It is being very safe. So you don't need to worry about keeping in refrigerator or anywhere else. You can, you can keep it anywhere at the room temperature.
That was very detailed explanation. Thank you for that. And it's really interesting because I, never really thought about it, how much actually technology and science goes into skincare. Something simple as moisturizer that I put on every morning, right?
Yeah.
So, since I mentioned Instagram and some trends that skincare experts are sharing there, are there any particular trends that you think will have the most lasting impact on the industry? And one of you can answer that. I'm pretty sure maybe you have different perspective on that.
For sure. So, first thing is about the transparency in the skincare industry. Now, people are getting more and more aware about, writing natural onto your label. It doesn't mean anything to the consumer. Or even if you are making a green leaf or something, green label, it doesn't mean that the product is safe for use or it is sustainable. So, it is rightly said that the devil is in the details. So you need to go into the INCI list. We call it INCI list when you are reading the label. So you need to go into the ingredient list and you must be able to identify which one are synthetics, which can be dangerous or which can be petrochemicals. But nowadays the certification is something which is kind of you can rely on. For example, Refresh Botanicals brand is EcoCert certified. So EcoCert is a global body which gives you this certification after stringent, auditing of your facility, auditing of your ingredients, auditing your packaging. So everything is audited by a third party. So it's not us who is saying that our product is safe and natural. It is the third party, global certification body, which is saying our products are certified organic and natural. And we don't even here. We are saying how much percentage of the ingredients are natural,
how much percentage is organic. Because, even when you are saying 100% organic and there is water going into your formulation, I
Right.
can definitely say that statement is wrong scientifically. Why? Because water is never considered as organic. It is not, it is a non-organic ingredient. So if somebody is saying 100% organic and it is having water content into it, that means it is not true. So what the certifying body does, like they check your labels, they actually approve the labels, whether what you are saying is correct or not. So that's the new thing, the new trend which is happening in the
Mm-hmm.
skincare. People are getting more aware about the sustainable, ingredients. Not only the
Right.
sustainable ingredients, but also the packaging part, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You are more conscious about the environment. You don't need to throw a lot of plastics or a lot of, substances out there in the environment or the chemicals out there in the environment so that you are damaging your, the water bodies, or because those chemicals are percolating in your water table. It is damaging again the PFAs in the environment, again a burning issue. So these are some of the things which are going to be dominant in next few years in the skincare industry. And another aspect is increasing the efficacy of the bioactives using the natural means. So
Mm-hmm.
as I already talked about nanoencapsulation, microemulsification, or immobilization of the bioactives, these are some of the things which are getting more and more popular because now you are using lesser of the bioactives, but you are making it work. You are making them more effective with lesser use or lesser concentration.
I love the way it sounds. I noticed that I started reading the label, and then I got the app that actually would scan it for me and show if there are any hazardous ingredients when I got pregnant for the first time. And I actually realized that something I put on my skin penetrates through and it might affect the baby that was growing inside of me, right? And actually affect my health as well.
That's
So,
true.
and
So
since,
over here, just to mention, since you mentioned that app,
Mhm.
specifically, there is an app called Yuka app out there in the market. And
Right.
if you try to scan the Refresh Botanicals product through the Yuka app, any of our product does not, score below 93 or 95. Most
Mhm.
of them, they are 100 out of 100, but more like 93 is the lowest one. And
Mhm.
that 93 is just because we are using certain essential oils, which can be allergic to some people,
Oh, I
but
see.
it's
Mhm.
not because we are using some synthetic ingredient.
Mhm.
So most of them they are scoring 100 out of 100. So
Mhm.
that's why you rightly mentioned people are getting more and more aware of it. And skin is the largest organ of our body. Whatever you apply onto the skin, it gets percolated into your bloodstream as well. So
Mhm.
you need to be careful, especially the special conditions like if you are pregnant or certain times like premenopausal or
Mhm.
postmenopausal situation, your skin becomes tend to become more sensitive. So you need to be very careful what you are applying onto the skin during those times.
That is so true, and it seems that you really understand the need of general consumers. So, are there any specific consumer needs or concerns that you believe are currently underserved in the market?
So you, Jones?
Yeah, yes, there are so many areas where we are unable to find skincare even today. As Jagvir was telling, like when we are pregnant, there are a lot of hormonal changes and which is very much seen on the skin, but there is no particular cream available in the market. Similarly, during menopause or pre-menopause, creams are not available. Though we face like sometimes irritated red marks on the skin, but there is no cream available in the market which can address these issues. Similarly, pigmentation is very huge one where we are not able to find any particular cream for pigmentation. So these are the main concern. I can feel like there is market where one can go and develop some new formulation and get benefit out of that.
Yeah, and in addition to this, like as you asked about what is the underserved market out there, there are certain, it's natural and organic is a most abused term out there. And there is a lot of demand for certified organic and natural. And that's where Refresh Botanicals stand out. And another aspect is the cost to it. Some people feel that if a product is organic and natural, it's going to be super costly. That's a myth. Because
I
see,
agree.
we are living it day in and day out,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't need to spend huge amount of money onto organic and natural skincare. So there is a demand out there, but people are not able to afford that because of the
Mm-hmm.
high prices of those kind of products. So that's a area where we want to make it a mass moment where everybody can use the organic and natural skincare, and not only just organic and natural skincare, certified organic and natural skincare.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds very noble because actually, that's interesting. It just reminded me. I was scanning with that Yuka app. I was scanning through my skincare, and I have both some, drugstore or something more affordable, even like vegan, something like Refresh Botanicals, which is like you said, it's pretty affordable, and I have some of the luxury segment. And I was surprised. I was even kind of mad when I found out that my moisturizer that is like $60-70 for a small jar was
Mhm.
showing on that app was scanning bad or poor, and
Mhm.
something that was, I don't know, $15 was showing excellent.
Yeah.
I was like, how is it
Mhm.
even possible? I'm paying money expecting it to be clean and effective, and at the same time, it's actually gonna maybe harm me in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, you rightly mentioned, Maria. It's a misconception that costly product will always be better. There is another misconception, let me tell you. If the ingredient list is long, the
Mm-hmm.
product will be good. That's another
It's a good
misconception.
point.
Yeah.
You see this arise of specialization,
Mm-hmm.
customization. So basically, if you are applying your skincare product for a particular concern, it should address that concern.
Mm-hmm.
It should not be having like a blend of 100 ingredients going into it. So now we are living in an era of simplicity and transparency. We want to keep it simple. We want to keep it, devoid of any sort of, petrochemicals or
Right.
synthetic chemicals or fragrances even. Just avoid the word perfume on onto the inky list, because these are the things which are bothering people.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said that Refresh Botanicals product actually focuses on an issue and it addresses it. So maybe Dr. Sippy, you could explain it. What are some fundamental steps people should take care when they're applying product on aging skin? Because I think it's a completely different and broad question that women in their 50s and 60s start having.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through it, please.
Yeah. Normally, as we are young, we are just doing skincare as our general routine, like cleansing, exfoliation, and hydration. These are the three steps we do. But as we age, we are more into like controlling the aging, because there are pronounced sign of aging you can see on the face, like deep line, fine lines, you can see. So addressing those issues are must when we are taking some skincare routine when we are in our 50s or 60s.
Mhm.
So we should look some ingredients like bakuchi oil. Bakuchi oil is known as natural Botox, and it's a replacement of retinol. So it's very good for aging skin. So we should look some moisturizer which are rich in hydration, because
Mhm.
hydration is the key for controlling wrinkles. Similarly, we can look into some well-known peptides. Peptides are collagen booster, because collagen and hydration is going away as we grow old, right?
Mhm.
So eat some nutrition for our skin, and we should look into the moisturizer which has the higher concentration of bakuchi oil, retinols, peptides. Some good ingredients should be there. So such type of creams is the key for skincare when we are in 50s or 60s.
Mhm.
So
So that's
just to add over here,
Mhm.
when you are in your 30s, it's cleansing, exfoliation, and moisturization. It can be as simple as that.
Mhm.
But as you are aging, you need to add a fourth element into it, that is adding nutrients into your skin. And those
Right.
nutrients, as if you rightly mentioned, the peptides, collagen boosters. There are, hyaluronic acid, specifically adding to the hydration of the skin. So
Mm-hmm.
more your skin is kept hydrated, it will, decrease the speed of aging. So these are some of the things which are to be taken care of as your skin ages as you go.
Uh, well, I guess you gradually brought me to my next question, which was what are some, and explain it, I guess, more scientifically rather than generally, what are some proven methods to slow down the visible signs of aging skin? It's like revealing a secret.
So there is no magic formula, Maria, about addressing.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain basic uh, you know steps to take care of your skin. So for example, cleansing, exfoliation,
Mm-hmm.
and hydration. These are
Right.
basic ideas behind keeping your skin vibrant, keeping it younger.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to, if there are already fine lines appearing on your skin, then there are certain bioactives which can take care of those fine lines. So
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned, bakuchiol, for example, it's a very good kind of active. And Refresh Botanicals is planning another product with bakuchiol, uh, immobilized onto cellulosic nanocrystals, basically, so that we can deliver that bakuchiol onto the skin in a more efficient way. So basically, it's those actives, if they are added in a right proportion without causing any side effects, if they are used in your skincare formula, they can take care of the aging concerns or the
Mm-hmm.
wrinkles, those kind of things, basically. And it all depends upon, there are scientific tools available to measure the size of those wrinkles. Is it deep, or is it, are they fine wrinkles onto the surface? So each of them, they have a different remedy. Basically, if the wrinkles are deep layered, so then the methods are different. You need to concentrate on the collagen boosters, basically, for example. But if it is superficial, then hydration might be enough. So you need a better hydrating agent in your skincare if it is
Mm-hmm.
superficial. So it all depends upon at what age you are, what is how much the skin has gone through, the rough and tough environment out there. So there are a lot of factors, a lot of parameters. They will decide what kind of skincare cream or serum you will be using.
Right. So what about sunscreen then? Can you just briefly explain some common misconceptions and beliefs? Because the general, very popular belief is applying skincare, at least on your face and neck daily, will prevent signs of aging.
Yeah, so see, the sunscreen is something which is more and more people are getting aware of it.
Hmm.
More and more people are using sunscreen. Now, it's not only sunscreen, people are combining it with anti-aging creams, people
Right.
are combining it with moisturizing creams, basically. But one of the misconception about SPF or sunscreen
Hmm.
is that you should be using only on a sunny day. That's not true. Even if there are clouds in the sky, it still gets UV, which can get onto the skin. So you need to apply maybe a lower SPF, but you need to apply a moisturizer or
Hmm.
purely an SPF cream, even if it is cloudy.
Right.
That's one. Second misconception about SPF is that if it is leaving white mark onto your skin, it is bad. No, it's not true. The opposite is true, because if your SPF moisturizer is very, very transparent, it doesn't leave any mark. That means it is using chemical filters, chemical UV filters. And chemical UV filters in general are not safe for use as
Hmm.
compared to the physical filters, which is usually zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, those kind of chemicals. So you need to be very careful about what you are using. So certain chemical UV filters, what they do is they absorb the UV, they get energized, and they can cause cancer. So they
Hmm.
can be more dangerous. So see, imagine a situation where you are using an SPF moisturizer or SPF cream to avoid the UV rays going into your skin, but actually you are damaging your skin by applying those, SPF moisturizers. So you need to
I
be very
see.
careful what you are applying. Look into the ingredient list what you are
Hmm.
using.
I'm glad you mentioned labels and ingredient list, and maybe Dr. Sippy, you could go more into details. So let's say I'm a consumer and I want to choose effective and safe products. What ingredients should I look out for that would be both effective and safe, and what ingredients I should avoid on the list? Try to avoid at least.
Yeah, so in key list, as we see on the label, it is in terms of percentage, decreasing order, starting from end.
Mm-hmm.
The starting point is the highest concentration in the formulation, and the lowest one, the least concentration.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are looking on the ingredient list, you should look into top and see 1, 2, 3 ingredient, and you can decide if your target, for example, you are looking for some cream which is like hydration. For example, you are looking for some cream which can give you hydration. So you will be looking some ingredient which are responsible for that hydration.
Right.
So you're looking on the INKI list on the top, if it is in the top 3 or 4,
Mm-hmm.
that ingredient is there, then you can select it for yourself because it will be going to resolve that concern, right?
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, you should look into INKI list for some component like perfume, fragrance. These are
Mm-hmm.
synthetic ones, and in long term, it is going to sensitize your skin. So say no if you are looking like fragrance is reported or perfume word is reported or benzyl alcohol, benzoic acid, such type of chemicals you should avoid in the ingredient list.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And just to add over here, there are certain terms which are used on the label. For example, hypoallergenic. So
Mm-hmm.
hypoallergenic generally means that the ingredients they don't cause allergy, but just be careful. It doesn't guarantee anything. It
Oh,
doesn't
really?
guarantee that you not get allergy of because some people are allergic even to, for example, coconut oil,
Mm-hmm.
which is so there are certain ingredients which is which can cause allergy. Second thing
Mm-hmm.
you might have seen non-comedogenic. So non-comedogenic is a term basically which is used to indicate that the ingredients going into it they don't clog your pores. So for example, if a skin is let us say acne prone, so you need to be careful if you are using non-comedogenic written onto the skincare label. I think that is helpful to you. That's another part. There are certain other logos you might find. For example, our Refresh Botanicals, it has a logo of Cosmos Organic or Cosmos Natural. So which signifies that a particular product has been certified as Cosmos Organic. Cosmos Organic means majority of the ingredients going into it, they are organic in nature. And just to be very clear about organic and natural, because some people don't even understand the difference between organic and natural. Organic means a particular ingredient has been grown in an environment which is devoid of pesticides or
Okay.
insecticides or
Mm-hmm.
any sort of chemical. So it has been grown in a very clean environment.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it has been extracted in a very safe way without use of petrochemicals or without use of synthetic chemicals. So that's how organic is differentiated from natural. Natural means it has been derived from the natural material. It doesn't signify if it is organic or not organic. So that's a difference in terms. So that's the there is a third term which is usually you might find on the label, which is dermatologist tested. So basically, that means that particular product has been tested by a dermatologist and it has been recommended by a dermatologist. But again, it doesn't mean that it is safe for everyone. It can be safe for most of people, but it can't be that it is a guarantee against side effects to any particular
Mm-hmm.
skin. Yeah.
That is a lot of information to process. But but it's really great explanation because I feel like now when I will be heading to the store and looking at the skincare that I'm taking off the shelf, I will kind of know what to look for. Um, I mean, I'm relying on that Yuka app, but it's really good to know. It's very educational. So let's talk a little bit more science and I guess more biology this time, because correct me if I'm wrong, but so here's what I want to talk to you about. How, okay, Let's rephrase it, and I'll cut it out. So I wanted to
Mhm.
talk to you about differences in skincare based on ethnic factors, because biologically, the darker the skin, the more melanin it has. That's the proper word, right? So
Mhm.
would you say that skincare needs and concerns vary across different racial and ethnic groups?
Yeah. So you're right. There are certain, issues which happen to
Mm-hmm.
particular skins out there. So, for example, hyperpigmentation. It tends to be impacting more with people who are, you know, people who are of darker skin tone.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact out there. And that's why we advise against using some of the ingredients if specifically applied
Mm-hmm.
for that kind of, skin type. There can be certain issues which arise only for lighter skin tone, for example. So these are like, yeah, you're right. It can depend upon the kind of ethnicity or kind of skin tone you
Mm-hmm.
are having. Uh, and that's why. So, for example, let me give you an example. Hydroquinone. Hydroquinone is a hyperpigmentation. Uh, it's an active which is used to treat hyperpigmentation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You need to be careful about the use of its concentration if it is being used on darker skin tone because it might aggravate the problem in darker skin tones. So that's one aspect. So similarly, if there are fragrances, for example, in the skincare, the fragrances tend to impact more those skins which are of darker skin tone. Again, need to be
Mm-hmm.
careful. So that's why these are some of the things which, similarly, benzoyl peroxide, for example. Benzoyl peroxide is usually used to treat acne issues onto the skin.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is used beyond a certain concentration, it might cause hyperpigmentation to the darker skin tone. So it all depends upon, the type of skin you are having,
Right.
which might relate with the
Mm-hmm.
ethnicity of it.
I see lots of cosmetic companies started creating more diverse image when they advertising their skincare or overall cosmetics. But can you tell how can skincare professionals better address clients' needs from different racial backgrounds? Because, like you said, if you're using certain ingredients on darker skin, it can cause irritation, some other concerns, right? Some other issues. So, how can companies work better around, I guess, addressing those issues and preventing it?
Yeah, I think the best way to address this issue is using the prescribed concentration
Mm-hmm.
of the particular actives. So usually what happens specifically in Canada, Health Canada has a certain, criteria and guidelines for use of some of the bioactives, not each of them. So there are certain ingredients which are allowed by Health Canada in any proportion. They don't put any restriction, but some of them they they are allowed to be used in only a certain concentration. So you need to adhere to those guidelines. That's
Mm-hmm.
one aspect. Second is depending upon the demography being addressed by a particular brand, you can change or customize the ingredients. So keeping it in the safe limits, that's the crux
Mm-hmm.
for bioactives specifically. There are certain ingredients which doesn't matter which type of skin you are having. So, for example, vitamin C, it's a very common anti-aging ingredient which is being used. But again, if we go scientifically, there are so many forms of vitamin C, again, encapsulated or, derivative
Mm-hmm.
vitamins, depending
Right.
upon the kind of skin issues you are targeting. So it all depends upon, the specificity of the concern which you are addressing through the skincare formula.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Sippy, do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, we can think of adding different concentration of bioactive depending on the skin tone. As Jagvir was mentioning, vitamin C, similarly, we can think of niacinamide. Niacinamide is well-known compound for texture improvement, but concentration variation uh, kept into the formulation when we are dealing with different skin tones, because niacinamide is good for darker skin tone, not for lighter side, but yeah, lower concentration can be beneficial for them also. So we can play around the percentage for the
Right.
bio dealing with different skin tones.
Mm-hmm. I see. Well, it's very valuable information. I think we've covered quite a lot. So, do you mind both answering what do you most enjoy about being involved in the skincare industry? Uh, and I guess overall your job, like I asked what your plans are for the weekend, and you said, well, we have a lot going on at Refresh Botanicals, so we're gonna be working over the long weekend, which makes me believe you enjoy your job, your lifestyle, and being involved in skincare uh, routine. So what do you enjoy most about it?
So
I did.
yeah, so just to address your question, it's the passion, Maria.
Mhm.
Is you when you tend to deliver the tangible results to the people out there, you are making the difference in the life of people. It gives you happiness and satisfaction. I can give you an example when one lady she called our office and she mentioned how her daughter was having acne issues, and she mentioned that she had tried, like even went to dermatologist, and she was using the medication. It improved, and then again went to the same situation. And she started using our oil balancing moisturizer and cleanser, which we specifically
Mhm.
mentioned for skin, acne prone skin. And she was so happy, like when she expressed that happiness, it was kind of a lot of satisfaction which gave us like, okay, we made some difference
Of
to
course.
somebody. That's a pleasure you get out of it. Second thing is, as I mentioned at the start of the talk, like there is so much research and development happening inside the labs. There is need to bring out that innovation in
Hmm.
the market. So that lab to market transition, I believe we are able to fasten that process of lab to market transition of the technologies.
Hmm. Wow, that's amazing. And I think my favorite part about Refresh Botanicals is how clear you actually are about addressing specific issue. So for me as a consumer, when I go to a store, I won't have to, ask a consultant to help me or actually wander around and, guess which product can help me, but I can actually just read and say, hey, yes, this one is gonna address my acne or aging, you know.
Yes.
So I,
Mhm.
I love that about Refresh Botanicals and really appreciate what you do for our city. Because
Mhm.
if someone doesn't know, your production is based in Edmonton, right? You don't have.
Yes. Yeah, everything from concept to the
Mhm.
final production, it happens in our Edmonton facility. So we do the formulation in our own lab. It is produced in our production
Mhm.
facility. It is packaged over here. So everything is in-house in Edmonton. So it's a made in Alberta product going out to the world.
Always love to support Made in Alberta product. So
Thank you.
it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining me. Do you
Thank you.
have anything else to add? I guess addressing consumers, just ordinary people, women who go and shop for your product.
Sure. Well, just a last line I would advise anybody who is looking out for skincare, whatever brand you use, just look into the Inky list. What are
Hmm.
the ingredients going into it? That's the most basic thing any
Hmm.
customer can. And if you are having any app like Yuka or something on your phone, just
Hmm.
scan it. You will get a lot of information. So it's all about being informed about what you are using.
That's so true. Yeah, I tell people about that app. Well, I guess I started religiously scanning all my products and food, including in skincare, like I said, since I got pregnant for the first time. And now I tell people about that app, and I convert more and more women, young and old, into my cult of Yuka.
Yeah, and Yuka is just an app. Like there are so many apps out there. These are
That's true.
like, or Yuka is getting more popular because you can scan not only the skincare but also the food items as
Mhm,
well. That's
exactly.
an app, Yuka. Yeah.
Were you behind developing that app or you just know about it?
You with us.
No.
Not at all. It's a third party app.
Mhm,
We actually, it's interesting. It was one of the customers who actually was using. So one of our, we do the product demos at the
mhm,
stores where carrying the stores which are carrying our product line.
right.
So one of the customers, she came to us and she said, you know what? I don't trust you, what you are saying. Let me scan with my phone.
Right.
And then we noticed, and she was kind of like, oh, wow, it's 100 out of 100.
Mm,
And then we found out about the app, and then we realized, okay, that's wonderful. So
right.
we started like, okay, this is something good, then why not spread out the word out there?
Speaking of product promo, do you have the exact date for hair care line launching?
Yeah, it's going to be probably almost like 6 to 7 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on the packaging, and our vitamin C series that's also coming up in few weeks of time. And there is an SPF moisturizer, the first SPF
Mm-hmm.
moisturizer Refresh Botanicals is bringing without any chemical UV filters. It's going to be coming soon, and it's not again the physical filters. They have the drawback of being like too much whitish on your skin. So we have addressed that issue. So
Oh,
all the
nice.
physical filters without their side effects.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds great. Uh, is it is it only for like adults use, or can you use it on your children's
So
skin? Anyone?
yeah, anybody can
Anyone?
use it
Mm-hmm.
because they are EcoCert certified,
Mm-hmm.
so anyone can use those products. We make
Oh,
sure that anything which we bring out,
mm-hmm.
they are EcoCert certified. So it you will find it either Cosmos Organic or Cosmos Natural.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Oh, that's
Cosmos
great
Organic.
to know. And thank you again for sharing your expertise and your knowledge. It was a
Okay.
pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you.